everyone, welcome back to our channel. He's Moses and I'm Waina, and today we are talking about the upcoming new launch at Lentor called Lentor Central Residences.
So the target preview date is on the 22nd February 2025, which is the same date for Parktown and Alta's booking day. And so if you're considering all your options or need a backup plan, right, Lentor might just be the right place for you, as we are expecting the quantum for this project to be quite attractive.
So Lentor has already launched 5 projects so far, with Lentor Central being the 6th one. But did you know that our master plan actually indicates there's a lot more potential in this area? So if you can see over here, right, down here is still subject to detailed drawing, this area also, and down here is a reserve site. This side is also a reserve site. Yeah, and in fact, in Springleaf area, right, over here, we will show you over. They have already announced that there will be about 2,000 units coming up in these 3 parcels. Yeah, so it actually shows you that there's going to be a lot of change expected in this area and development in time to come, because once there's an MRT, right, the government will definitely build more things there.
So why not? Do you think there will be HDB coming up in this area?
I think so, you know, because there is a chance that there will be new townships in this area, and if it is so, right, they will very likely be the potential buyers when Lentor buyers here want to exit.
So circling the Springleaf MRT area where the government builds an MRT, right, typically there will be more developments coming up in that area.
Correct, and I think it's looking quite promising. So coming back towards the Lentor area, Lentor Central is actually located just beside Hillock Green, and it's just a short walk from the amenities here. So the Lentor Modern is where the amenities are, because it's a mixed development, and where the MRT is located over here. Yeah, so it's actually really very convenient. You can see it's just a stone's throw away. So something to note is that there will actually be 5 more plots coming up in this area. So the next up and coming one is the current URA GLS at Lentor Gardens. But as you can tell, it's actually a bit further lah. You have to cut through the park in order to get to the MRT.
So there are actually a lot more in this area as well.
Yes, so coming in now, right, although yes, we are not the first few plots, right, but still there's still a lot more plots coming up.
So for connectivity wise, right, thanks to the Thomson East Coast line, Lentor, right, is very convenient and easily accessible. So it is very close to Orchard MRT and Shenton Way for people to go to work as well, and for people who works in the CBD. Yeah, then it's also connected to all other MRT lines, which has Shenton Way, Orchard, and also Woodlands North. So it's very accessible in my opinion. So for the fact sheet, right, so for the developer wise, right, apart from Hong Leong and Guaco Land, this time round there's also joint venture of CSE Land, and the number of units for Lentor Central Residence, right, is actually 477, and unit type is ranging from 1 bedroom to 4 bedroom itself. So the estimated TOP is similar to the rest of Lentor project, which is projected to be about 2030. So these are some of the artist's impression for Lentor Central. Why not? This project, right, actually reminds me a lot like Hillock Green, whereby there are only 2 blocks and both are actually north-south facing, right? And they also have unblocked views, correct?
Yeah. So moving on to the site plan, you can see that this is the north facing and this way is the south facing. These south facing units, I think, will actually be more premium because their view is facing towards the park and it's also unblocked view. Whereas this facing here towards the north, you will get pool view, but maybe something to note is there's an upcoming GLS in this area, and we are not sure how close they will build to this area, and potentially can be a little bit closer. As for facilities, there is actually 3 barbecue pits, here, and here. 3 barbecue pits, and most of the units are actually pool facing, as you can see. So very nice for all the units to have a nice view for the lower floors, and if higher floors you actually get unblocked views. Then the function room is over here, and you also have a tennis court. So in terms of tennis court in this area, right, actually only Lentoria and Hillock Green doesn't have a tennis court. Yeah, so I think this is good to have. Moving on to the side gates. So the side gates over here and here actually leads you to the park, whereas down here, this side gate will actually bring you to the MRT. So very convenient, because in terms of walking, right, I think it's less than 5 minutes. It's literally just across the road. So, and if I'm not wrong, right, the supermarket is located at Lentor Modern, closest to Lentor Central. So it's really very convenient.
So for the unit mix, right, we noted that there are actually more 2-bedders, but this time around there is an equal number of 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms as well. So generally, it's a good setback, and they are not blocking each other due to the ideal layout of both blocks, right? So potentially stacked 5, 6 and 7 over here. They might be closer to the next development because of the setback over here. As you can see, it's 20 meters. And then, right, if it's possible, we might want to avoid this area because we are unsure of how the next plot will actually be like.
Because it's still an upcoming plot and we don't know how the site plan will be.
We still have to stay tuned to find out also.
Correct. So just in case, we might want to avoid that few blocks first. If we have a choice.
So we noted that they are actually more of the 2-bedroom type, which is about 210 units. And also, right, if you take a look over here, 3 and 4 bedrooms, right, they are also the same amount of units. So we somehow feel that the developers are actually aware that nowadays buyers themselves, right, they want to buy way bigger. Maybe probably due to upgrading and or bigger family as well.
If not, usually there's more 3-bedroom than 4-bedroom, right?
Correct.
So coming on to the 1-bedroom units analysis, we noticed that in this area, the current supply of 1-bedroom is almost non-existent. There's only 4 units at Seasons Park, and they're actually about 1,000 square feet on the ground floor with a huge patio.
Super huge.
Yeah, I don't think these are actually comparable. So we'll move on to what's coming up in the new launch. So for the new launch in Lentor, we noticed that there's actually about 237 units. 237 only accounts for 9% in this area, which if you put in perspective, right, in the Hougang area, there's about 2,000 1-bedroom unit types, and that accounts for about 20%, which is why when you're trying to exit a 1-bedroom unit at Hougang, you might find it a bit difficult. But right now in Lentor, there's only 9%, so we feel that it's actually a bit of an undersupply at the moment. We also noticed that at Lentor Central, the units are built a bit smaller, 463 square feet, which means for investors in this area, right, they will find that it is going to be quite a sweet spot to enter the market. We're assuming at about 2,300 PSF, right, there is only about 1.06 million. So about 1.065, you can see that the rental yield is actually very good. We are basing 3,000 per month for rental across all the units as a benchmark. So we can see that there's a lot of potential for Lentor Central for investor. So because Hillock Green and Lentoria only has very few units, right, we're going to not compare these two, it's too few already. We're going to focus on Lentor Modern and Lentor Hills and Lentor Central. So just to let you know, currently these unit types at Lentor Modern and Lentor Hills are actually sold out, but just in comparison, right, Lentor Modern has a very nice master bedroom. You notice that it's 4.05 meters. Super wide. I think you can even put a study there. For Lentor Hills, right, you have double doors for the master bedroom, which means that you can enter from this side and also through the master bedroom.
So it's basically like an ensuite.
Yes, that's right. So your guests don't have to go through your master bedroom, but you still get the ensuite. Very ideal, and it has a proper dining area and a wider entrance. But Lentor Central, right, it actually has everything. You have a proper wide entrance walkway, so you don't feel so small despite being in a 1-bedroom. And also double doors on the master bedroom, which means you have ensuite access as well as common. If your friends come over, they don't have to go through your bedroom. And one thing I will note is that the dining area, right, because of the way the building is structured, you notice that it's tucked in, giving you very ample walkway space. So this actually helps a lot because you will feel that despite being in a 463 1-bedroom unit, right, this is actually very spacious. Yeah, it gives you a spacious feel.
So actually, in other words, right, for this one, right, so there are more proper dining area as compared to more of the 1-bedroom, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because this one you can see, right, once you put the table, then the walkway is a bit smaller.
Yeah.
So in summary, we feel that this is a very ideal situation for first-time investors with a limited budget but would like to enter the market. Very low supply in this area, and it's also a short distance to the amenities and MRT. So in summary, this 1-bedroom is actually very ideal for first-time investors because we're looking at a quantum of about 1.06 million, right? I did a quick search. Currently in the market, there is no other product available for this budget. There's really nothing you can buy. The closest one will be 1.07 million, which is Lumiere at 4 units left only. But it is a studio apartment. Means when you walk in, right, there's no rooms. There's no rooms. It's just one big room for your dining, your kitchen and your bedroom. Not very ideal
there's no proper bedroom at all. So
Correct.
Privacy-wise, it's not very ideal.
It's not great. Yeah, and even then, only 4 units left. So the next comparison would be Cassia, which is at 1.16 million for a 1+ study. It's at Flora Drive. It's not as accessible, it's not near the MRT, and that is the closest you get already in terms of if today I want to enter the market to buy a 1-bedroom with a decent layout. So I think for investors, right, who are just starting, this is something to look out for. And if you are very lucky and get a very good ballot number, you should actually consider the only 2 units of 1+ study. Because the 1+ study, you notice there is a tucked-in kitchen that you can actually enclose, and a study room with a proper master bedroom and a dedicated dining area. This is super rare. So if you actually have the chance to purchase early on in Lentor Central, you might want to consider this, although it is on the ground floor. So another thing to note is that when we are trying to exit this place, right, Lentor Central with a 1-bedroom, investors might be worried. But we noticed that the closest competitor would be Lentor Mansion, which is a 2-bed, 1-bath. 2-bed, 1-bath, 527 square feet, right? So something to note is that Lentor Mansion has a 527 square feet 2-bed, 1-bath that is dumbbell shaped. Very likely buyers in future will compare the 1-bedroom Lentor Central to the Lentor Mansion 2-bed, 1-bath, because for about 100k plus more, you could get 2 proper bedrooms. But we also do note that for investors, in this area and for the convenience of tenants, right, Lentor Central is still much closer to the MRT compared to Lentor Mansion. So I still think that in all aspects, as an all-rounder, right, Lentor Central is still a good choice to go with.
So now let us move on to the 2-bedroom type. The supply of a 2-bedroom new launch units at Lentor, right? As you can see, all Lentor Modern, Lentor Hill Residence, Hillock Green, Lentoria, Lentor Mansion, and Lentor Central Residence, right? All their TOP, right, is actually very close to one another. Okay, so for 2-bedroom type, we account it to be a total of 1,187 units, ranging from a normal 2-bedroom to 2 flexi and 2+ study itself. And for the unit size, right, as we note, right, it's about 527, right, to the biggest unit will be about 883 square feet. So right now, right, we are looking at the average price of the whole Lentor region new project. It seems like most of their average price, right, is about 1.5 million-ish, around there. Right now, we are looking at the average price of the whole Lentor region new project, right? And if you take a look at the average purchase price, right, all of the projects is about 1.5 million-ish itself. And if Lentor Central Residence, right, if we base on 2,300 PSF, then we multiply, right, it will be equivalent to almost 1.56 million there. So I feel like it's actually quite a good buy also, because you are also entering at a good price itself.
Very similar to the past launch prices, so
Correct.
not very different. Even though you enter maybe 1-2 years later, still got a lot of potential.
So this is one special thing about Lentor itself. So right now we are looking at the whole of the 2-bedroom analysis for Lentor region new project. Although there are plenty of projects in Lentor itself, but for today's purpose of the video, right, we will be using these 3 projects instead: Lentor Modern, Lentor Hill Residence, and Lentor Central Residence. So both Lentor Modern and Lentor Hill Residence itself, right, are fully sold out already, the 2-bedders. Okay, reason why we put up these 2, right, because, right, we want to let you know how much these 2 units are actually transacted at as your direct competitor. As you can see, the average price, right, of Lentor Modern 1.35 to 1.67, I would say is about easily 1.5-ish. Then whereas for Lentor Hill Residence, 1.36 million to 1.52, easily 1.4 to 1.45 million. Now, looking at the highest price, right, over here, and over here, right? Now, looking at the highest price of Lentor Modern and Lentor Hills Residence of 1.67 and 1.52 million, right? These people who bought at the highest price are because technically they really have no more units to buy. That's why they bought at this highest price.
Likely to be higher floors, I guess.
Yeah, therefore it's a bit more expensive. For Lentor Hill Residence, right, launched 6 months to 1 year after Lentor Modern, with the comparable layouts, right, they launched exactly back at the same price point. And if today Lentor Central, right, launches at 1.35 million and it's starting from, or even if it's at 1.45 million, like depending on your queue number as well, right, do you think one still can buy? So it's easy to know whether or not, right? So if today Lentor Central launches at 1.35 million and it's starting from, right, or even if it's at 1.45 million, depending on your queue number on that day, do you think one can still buy? So it's very easy to know whether we can purchase or not, as there are units that have been transacted at this price itself. So one easy way to analyze in this Lentor area, right? Because there is a lot of process in terms of the new developments and people are willing to pay at this kind of pricing itself. So even if you purchase at 1.45 million in the future, right? And upon TOP, if I can still sell it at 1.67 million, I feel very high chance one will be able to do so lah. And if you notice, right, commonly for 2-bedroom, right, so for all these 3 projects, right, we noted that all these are actually enclosable kitchen, okay? And then the DB itself, right, for Lentor Hill Residence and Lentor Central, right, it's actually tucked at sweetly at one corner in the kitchen itself. But whereas for the Lentor Modern, it's actually the DB is over here. So I feel that we are somehow not utilizing the space efficiency in a way. And another thing to take note, although Lentor Modern, the DB is over here, right, they actually came up with a flexible room itself, so we can easily convert to anything. And however, to take note also, the difference between these 3, right, is that Lentor Modern only has one bathroom located at the master bath. So if your guest wants to use your washroom, they will have to access to your master bathroom to use it. Whereas for Lentor Hill and Lentor Central, both have 2 bedrooms itself, 2 bathrooms. So for all these 3 projects, right, we noted that all this kitchen itself are actually enclosable. And also, the DB, right, for Lentor Hill and Lentor Central is sweetly tucked in over here at the kitchen itself. Whereas as for the DB in Lentor Modern, it's actually at the main entrance, which I feel they didn't utilize like space efficiency. But however, Lentor Modern itself, they have a good thing which is a flexible room. But one thing to take note, the main difference about Lentor Modern and the other 2 projects is that Lentor Modern itself only has a master bath. So which your guests use, right, they have to enter using your like your master bathroom itself lah. And then whereas for Lentor Hill and Lentor Central, they have 2 bathrooms itself. So comparing all these layouts, right, Waina, what do you think is actually different?
Is it the Lentor Central has a very big dining area?
Yes, that is true, although it has a bigger dining area, right? But actually no, that's not the main reason. Let me show you why. So why not? Comparing these 2 layouts, right, in Lentor Central, what do you think is actually different?
Maybe the dining area at the 2-bed 2-bath on the left has a bigger dining area?
Well, yeah, although it's true you have a bigger space for your dining area, actually that's not the main reason why I asked. Lentor Central, right, 2-bed 2-bath, 689 square feet, right? This is actually not a dumbbell layout, but however, it is a traditional layout instead, which is not commonly found in today's market. So Lentor Central Residence, right, 2-bed 2-bath, 689 square feet, right? If you take note over here, it's actually not a dumbbell layout, you know, because most of the 2-bedders nowadays we see are actually dumbbell layouts. But however, this is not. This is actually a traditional layout, which is not commonly found in today's market. And only 23% of such 2-bedders, right, are actually traditional layouts in Lentor region. Furthermore, right, this traditional layout actually offers more privacy as compared to the dumbbell layouts. So right now we are looking at a 2+ study unit type, right? And if you take a look at the 786 square feet one, right? Over here at the kitchen itself, yes, although it's enclosable like all the others, however, if you take note over here, here and here, these 2 glass panels are generally bigger. Why? Which means that the whole living room and the whole kitchen itself will actually be more brighter. So if you do ask me for my top preferred choices, right, 786 square feet will be the most preferred. And let's say for example, 786 square feet is located on the 12th floor and 797 is located on the 5th floor. So right now we are looking at the 2+ study unit type, and if you take a look at the 786 square feet, right, over here at these 2, and at the kitchen itself, all of them actually has an enclosable kitchen, but over here and here, if you take note, the glass panel itself is actually way bigger than the others over here as compared to here and here. Okay? So generally speaking, right, the kitchen itself will be way more well lit as such. So if you were to ask me, for my top choices, 786 square feet will be the most preferred because it will be slightly cheaper as it is 11 square feet smaller compared to the 797 square feet unit, and with a more functional layout for a dining area and brighter kitchen itself. So, and if let's say, right, 786 square feet mid floor, 797 square feet low floor, I will definitely get the 786 square feet. And let's say for 786 square feet high floor and 797 square feet low floor, I might buy the 797 square feet lah.
So quantum very important for this unit type.
Correct. So we have to see and assess accordingly itself. Do you know that Lentor Central 2-bedroom is actually somewhat similar to Lentor's Mansion 3-bedroom? Actually, if you take note of all three types, right, it's actually the same size, 786 square feet. So we take note that actually Lentor Mansion is actually our direct competitor as it is the same size. But this is actually a 3-bed, 2-bath. But one thing to take note at Lentor Mansion, right, is actually they managed to squeeze in 1 bedroom to maximize space efficiency. So our top choice for 2-bedroom, right, will be the 2-bed, 2-bath at 689 square feet at stack 18. So our top choice for 2-bedroom, right, will be the type 2B, 689 square feet at stack 18. And not the 2 plus study, as the 2 plus study has a potential competitor, which is Lentor's Mansion 3-bedroom itself. And as mentioned earlier, right, approximately about 23% of 2-bedder types, right, are actually traditional layouts, and approximately 718 units of the 2-bedroom are actually dumbbell layouts in Lentor collection.
Making it quite rare, the traditional layout.
Correct.
So moving on to the 3-bedroom analysis. We noticed that currently in the market, there's only 47 units left in Hillock Green and Lentoria for sale, because 3-bedroom has been very sought after in this area. And if you notice, right, so we see that there's not much supply left. Comparing Lentor Modern and Lentor Hills, both already sold out. But we do want to take note that Lentor Modern, right, actually has a very nice flexi room. So this flexi room is very rare. Out of all the projects in Lentor, right, only Lentor Modern managed to have a flexi room included into most of their bigger unit types, which means it gives buyers the ability to use it as a study or as a helper's room. Whereas at Lentor Hill, we don't have that, but we have a potentially brighter kitchen because of the window glass panels over here as compared to over here at Lentor Mansion. So we noticed that at Lentor Hills, right, there's glass panels over here giving the kitchen a brighter feel as compared to Lentor Modern, which is actually solid walls, which means your kitchen will be actually quite dark. In this analysis, we also considered Hillock Green and Lentoria, but we are going to disregard these two because they are not very ideal in terms of its floor plan for the kitchen. As you can see in Lentoria, it's actually an open kitchen, not very desirable in a 3-bedroom. And for this one here, right, you notice at Hillock Green, there's no glass panels, only one small one here. And for the entrance to the kitchen, if you put your dining table here, it makes it quite narrow. So you imagine every day you only can walk this small space in and out of the kitchen.
Yeah, not very ideal for a 3-bedroom.
Not very ideal, because I imagine 3-bedroom you would be a family staying. So when you eat during dinner time, you imagine it would be quite inconvenient. Somebody have to stand up, move in for you to go into the kitchen. So for that case, we are not going to compare this to Lentor Central. The closest comparison would be the sold out 904 Lentor Mansion compared to Lentor Central. Lentor Mansion, you notice that you have a privacy walkway as you enter, very spacious, and you have a proper kitchen. But you do notice that the kitchen, right, has no doors. Although you can potentially enclose it, you have to build your own doors. But there is a flexi room here, so potentially if you need to work from home, use it as a study or have helper, this is actually still not too bad, quite ideal for such profiles. So at Lentor Central, we kind of have the best of both worlds. We have a very good privacy area as you enter, so people open the door, don't look straight into your living room. There is also a small storeroom here allocated in this project. While it's not a flexi room, but it is quite rare nowadays for a condo to have a storeroom allocated within the condo space. So this is actually not bad. You can put all your chapalang things inside lah. So at Lentor Central Residence, it's actually the best of both worlds. You have a privacy entrance, very spacious, and also they managed to squeeze in a storeroom. So this storeroom is actually very rare in today's market. You don't really see storeroom. While it's not a flexi room, but it also enables you to store a lot of your knickknacks inside. What we really like about this is the kitchen. So you see the kitchen, there's a natural window for natural light. There's a window for natural light. And there is also glass panels here. This glass panel means that it enables the living room's light to come into the kitchen and making it a brighter space. Yeah. We also have a dedicated dining area, and if you notice at the walkway, right, because of where the aircon latch is located. There is a window here, making the walkway also slightly brighter. So I would say that this Lentor Central 915 square feet is actually very ideal for families. Just that if you have a helper, then there is no extra space lah. Yeah, but other than that, I think it's actually quite a very good layout. So taking into consideration that if you really do need space for the helper, we will consider the 1076 square feet, the 3-bed 2-bath. But we did notice that the entrance of the walkway is very narrow and long.
Oh, it's super long.
It's a bit wasted lah, and it gives you the very narrow feeling as you enter the house, right? Doesn't have that sense of spaciousness. Okay, but it does, however, have a home shelter that you can double up as a helper's room, as well as another washroom at the back with a proper yard. So the kitchen is super big compared to this one here, but it also costs you a bit more lah. Yeah. Right. So I think for this one, right, we're looking at about 2.1 million for the 915, and if you are considering the 1076, right, you have to pay a premium just for the extra home shelter as well as the washroom. But it's actually quite nice for the master bedroom because you do notice there is a very big space here. So potentially if you wanted to add in a study table into your master bedroom, it's also possible, or to have a dressing table. So 1076 is nice. In terms of quantum, I would still prefer 915 because it would be a good sweet spot for upgraders to enter the market. Yeah, so they don't have to pay too much for the frills, but able to purchase a condo and upgrade. But I think if you really need a helper's room, then no choice. It really depends on your lifestyle.
Correct. So I think if you have a helper, probably you have to consider a 4-bedroom, right?
I think for the 3-bed 3-bath, they can still squeeze the helper in, but I would not pay...
A bit squeezy,
yeah, but I would not pay too much for it. Because the next unit type, right, would be 1184, just slightly bigger, but it's 4 proper bedrooms.
Correct, which will be actually more ideal, right?
Correct. So if you are considering to purchase a 3-bed 3-bath in Lentor Central, I would not suggest going for 2 high floors. Yeah, if you are to do that, we might want to start considering the 4-bedroom instead.
Correct.
So comparing the 3-bed 2-bath with the 3-bed 3-bath, we noticed that the walkway for this unit type, right, is really very narrow.
So actually, it looks very squeezy.
Yeah, so actually when you enter, right, you can feel like it's very narrow and not as spacious for a 3-bed 3-bath unit compared to this one here. Although it's like a privacy entrance, right, but it just feels less narrow and tight. Yeah, so you also notice that the kitchen is actually very spacious. There is a storeroom here, home shelter, as well as extra toilet over here.
The kitchen looks more spacious as compared to the other layouts.
A very functional kitchen. So if you have a helper or do heavy cooking, this is actually very ideal.
When I ask you, I noticed, right, the master bedroom itself is very spacious. And over here, right, can I actually fit a dressing table?
I think so, you know. So this is actually very rare. If you notice, right, this is 4.35 meters, this area, this length. Wow, it's really very spacious.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you can fit dressing table, even study table is possible. So if you have 2 kids, right, and you want to have a study table, your own study table here and work from home, also very possible.
Okay.
So altogether, very functional layout, but of course there is a premium that you have to pay compared to the 915 square feet. Yeah, so in conclusion, we feel that our top choice will still be the 915 because it will be at a quantum that is easily attainable for HDB upgraders without having to pay for the frills of the 3-bed 3-bath. But the 3-bed 3-bath is still a necessity if you have a helper and require the extra space. But I would actually caution that if you are to consider a 3-bed 3-bath at a higher floor, right, you might want to start looking at the 4-bedroom lower floors because the quantum might be quite close already. Yeah, because the quantum for the 3-bed 3-bath is about 2.1 mil.
And for a 4-bedroom, we have extra proper bedroom, right?
Correct. So in conclusion, right, our top choice is still the 915 square feet because at about 2,300 PSF, we are looking at about 2.1 million, which actually is very sweet spot for the HDB upgraders to come into the condo market. Yeah, whereas for the 3-bed 3-bath, you have to pay another 370,000 extra just for the extra home storage, home shelter, and a bigger master bedroom.
If that's the case, can consider a 4-bedroom, right?
That's right, because the 4-bedroom at Lentor Central is 1184 square feet. So if you were to buy a high floor 3-bed 3-bath, you might want to start considering a compact 4-bedroom, which I think Moses you will go through later, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So we are moving forward to it as well.
So in conclusion, right, our top choice for the 3-bedroom unit type is still the 3-bed 2-bath, 915 square feet, because if we are thinking about the 2,300 PSF, right, at about 2.1 mil, it's actually a very sweet spot for HDB upgraders to enter the market. Yeah, and it's also a very ideal location near the MRT. And if unfortunately you really need a helper's room, right, you might have to start considering the 3-bed 3-bath, which will put you at about an additional 370,000 in order to get the extra home shelter, WC, as well as the spacious master bedroom.
But for 370k more, maybe I should consider a 4-bedroom as well, right?
That's right, because the next unit type, which is the 4-bedroom, is only 1184 square feet, which means, right, you might want to start considering the 4-bedroom if you are buying a high floor 3-bed 3-bath.
So now let us take a look at the 4-bedroom itself. So for the supply of 4-bedroom, right, at Lentor itself, as you can see, right, there are not a lot. We noted that there's actually 490 only. So, but whereas as for the tenure, right, all are very close as well. It's the same. Okay. For the unit type, it ranges from the 4-bedroom compact all the way to 4-bedroom dual key. And the unit size is, the smallest is starting from 1184 square feet to 1582 square feet. 1582 square feet is very big actually.
Yeah.
Here we are looking at Lentor Central 4-bedroom type, 4A and 4B. 4A is at stack 13, which has a park facing, and 4B also at stack 8, which also has a park facing. But seems like one thing to take note is that we actually have a sweet spot of a walk-in wardrobe, which is very
really
decent.
like that.
Yeah, so which is not a lot, very commonly found, right, in today. Right now we are looking at Lentor Central 4-bedroom, type 4A and type 4B. Both are actually 1,184 square feet. And if you take a look, both are actually park facing itself, which the 4-bedroom itself actually does not have a lot of units. 26 units and 27 units over here for this layout. Yeah, and one thing I love about this layout is that actually you have a walk-in closet.
Wow, I really like that.
Yeah, it's so nice and all for a proper 4-bedroom. Okay, and then right, for all these proper 4-bedrooms, right, they can actually easily fit queen size and above the beds itself.
Very decent.
And the only con, right, for these two layout is that all 4 bedrooms have to share 2 bathrooms, sadly to say.
Okay.
So for the preferred choice, right, in comparison to these two layout, type 4A, right, stack 13 with a park view and walk-in wardrobe is actually preferred. And because all 4 bedrooms over here, right, are actually facing outwards. And I also get a long hallway with a long walk-in wardrobe area, but lesser master bedroom space over here as compared to the type 4B right over here, as you can see. It's a longer, there's more space in the master bedroom itself. So it really depends on what you want. But these two layouts are actually decent to me. Why, right? It's because if you are comparing a 3-bedroom and a 4-bedroom, right, what is the difference? I do have an additional walk-in wardrobe, okay, which it consists of like about 108 square feet. And if I take that 108 square feet times 2000 PSF, right, it's actually equivalent to 216k difference. Okay, so the 216k difference, just to get more things, you get a 1 additional bedroom. And this 1 additional bedroom in other developments, right, are usually, it costs way more today. So 1184 is really one of the top choices you can have in Lentor today. And let's say if 1184 square feet times about 2,200, which is equivalent to 2.6 million. And if let's say, right, your queue number is so small and you get to purchase it at 2,000 PSF, right, which is about 2.3 million-ish, I think that is really a good steal for a 4-bedroom in today's market.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only setback for this, right, 1184 is that, right, there's no white frontage for the living room itself, which comparing to the 1399 square feet, which we'll see later on, right, it's really way smaller. And for this compact layout, right, it is a good affordability for future HDB buyers because generally speaking in Ang Mo Kio area, right, it's really a HDB town. So it's really meant for HDB upgraders.
And Ang Mo Kio HDBs will actually, I think they will exit at a very high price.
Correct.
So good potential buyers in future.
Most of the newer units actually hit 1 million. Right?
Yeah. So I think these will be our pool of buyers in future.
Correct. Of course, for those who have more budget, right, one can actually consider the 1,399 square feet. And if you take a look over here, it's a 4-bed, 3-bath also. But generally speaking, for this layout, right, you're being greeted by an L shape over here, which you can actually put the shoe cabinet to utilize space efficiency. Besides that, right, you also have a wide living and dining frontage itself. So, and additional to that, you also have in the kitchen itself, you also have a store. And besides that, the kitchen area, if you take a look over here, it's actually a very, very big glass panel, which, like we mentioned, for this project itself, it's very well lit throughout the day for the kitchen.
Yep.
And for this unit layout, right, all units have ensuite bathroom. And the only con for this, right, that we noticed is that the bedroom 4 has internal views. So for a 215 square feet, right, in comparison to the 1,184 square feet, this easily rounds up to 400k more.
Wow.
That's a lot, right? Which I personally feel, in my opinion, not say cannot, but I personally prefer the 1,184 square feet. Why? Reason being is because if you purchase this type of layout and when you're looking to sell in the future, right, there are not as many competitors itself. But of course, it will be tougher to find.
That's true.
And in addition to the financing and down payment, right, it will be more. And if you make the same amount of money comparing the 1,184 and 1,399 square feet, right, then the 1,399 square feet will not be as ideal as you will have more down payment. And with this range of budget, right, you can have more choices.
Yeah, that's true.
Moving forward, let's take a look at what are the comparable 4-bedroom premium in the neighbouring area. Only two that comes in mind will be Hillock Green and Lentor Hill Residence. Both are also 1,300 plus square feet each. Okay? Why we choose this is because both Hillock Green and Lentor Hill Residences, right, has wide frontages. Okay? And in fact, right, some of the 4-bedroom premiums does not have wide frontages as compared to these 3 layouts. And Lentor Central 1,399 square feet wide frontage is potentially one of the best currently in Lentor region.
Yeah.
As you can see, right, Hillock Green is 4.9, Lentor Hill is 5.5, and Lentor Central is 5.35 meter, which is also very decent. However, right, one thing to note is that Hillock Green and Lentor Hill has a slight problem. If you take a look at bedroom 3 and bedroom 2 over here, right, and also over here, there is a metal piece that is used to hold the window. But after harmonization, right, the space itself over here are actually built more efficiently.
Oh, so it doesn't eat into the room as such.
Correct, it doesn't eat anymore as compared to the previous 2 and the pre-harmonization ones. So our top pick for 4-bedroom, right, is the Type 4A and Type 4B. Both are actually 1,184 square feet, which has park facing itself. And personally, I feel this is a good steal as it has everything as what 4-bedroom has, but ultimately it all boils down to which layout you prefer at the end of the day. So right now, overall Lentor Central, right, has wowed us with very good floor plans that are very efficient and comes in at a very manageable entry price based on the size and unit.
Yeah. And actually, Hong Leong has repeated this cluster strategy and gained success repeatedly. So all projects, no matter the sequence, right, has also earned money. For example, like Dines and Coco Palms at Pasir Ris, as well as Jovel at Flora Road. Yeah, so I feel that there's still a lot of potential in this area, and entering early into this place ensures that you still have a lot of advantage over the later plots.
With this, we'll end our analysis of the Lentor Central. So remember to contact us and let's view the Lentor Central together on the 22nd February. With this, we will say goodbye.
Bye!